You're right, all. So this is just a little rant about the irony of Remembrance Sunday. So in front of you, you should have a picture of Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, two politicians of the same coin. You know, two sides of the same coin: Labour, Conservative. Um, and obviously they've got reefs, big reefs in their hands. And I just find it quite ironic because these are the same people that spend 364 days of the rest of the year doing everything they possibly can to destroy it by mass immigration, multiculturalism, the changing, like financial systems to support the World Economic Forum, the 15-minute cities they support, the UN soldiers who've got living in secret army bases all over, RAF, but previous RAF bases, hotels, and the general ignoring of it, while they stand there with them reefs in their hands, the same as people on a local level. So like this is one here. So on a local level, there'll be veterans living nearby, homeless. So where are they for the other 364 days, including town mayors, I might add as well, and local councillors? Where are you during this process? Well, you're not. You're part of the destruction, aren't you? But you come crawling out your little cave once a year, so you can get yourself in the papers, doing what you're expected to do, laying reefs and going on about the freedoms that were fought for you. And it's most town mayors, politicians, and councillors. It's not just one or two. The vast majority of these people are in on it. And so that's the first one. The second one would be, where have these people been, including the soldiers, the veterans? Where have you been over the last couple of years? When you're going on about freedom, look at these two goons here with nappies on their faces. How am I supposed to take that seriously? So these are the same kind of people who would refuse you entry into a shop unless you put a nappy on your face, would discriminate against you, segregate you if you had the opportunity to, perhaps even put you in like a camp, like a World War II German style camp, concentration camp I'm getting at. And ironically, I did wonder this during the circus that was 2020 to 2022. What were the normies going to say during, like, say, 2021, when they were chucking people in concentration camps for not going along with the narrative, for not putting a nappy on the face, for not taking the procedure? Because it was really reaching a point where the normies, the NPCs, would have potentially chucked us into camps. And it was only because of a bit of a pushback from certain people that they didn't get that opportunity. So I was wondering how these people would do the mental gymnastics to stand there on a parade going on about fighting for freedom and all these years and against fascism, whilst chucking people into concentration camps. That was a real thought that went through my head in 2021, because it was getting that bad at one stage. So that's the second one. Another one, similar to politicians and councillors, is, say, like the monarch, for example, and it's around the world, it's not just the UK. They're all sort of in on it. However, the Remembrance Sunday obviously is relevant to the monarchy in the UK. But where have they been? The 70 odd years from 1948. We know when the Windrush generation started turning up and it started accelerating year by year. Where have they been throughout all of this? And yet again, they come out, they lay the reefs. They'd play the game, 2 minute silence, and then for the remainder of the year, they're cracking on as normal. And also with King Charles, he's always sucking up to the Africans, and so there's and also obviously he was mates with Jimmy Savile, and so that leads us to a totally different kind of worms that I won't go there on this one. But again, it's just ironic these people. Say, for example, if your next door neighbour had been knocking about with a prolific, what should we say, little person toucher, would you be worshipping him and giving away your respects to that person? Probably not. You'd want to move away from him, wouldn't you? And another observation about Remembrance Sunday, I have heard plenty of people say it's like a satanic sort of ritual or whatever. That does look a bit like the Shining, where the corridor gets filled with blood, rather than a field of poppies. But whatever. I mean, 11th hour, 11th day, 11th month, leads up to 33 degrees in Freemasonry. These matching numbers are a big thing in the occult world. 11, 22, 33, they're all big numbers. because they're quite into their numbers. For example, when the cough started in 2020, it began on 322, and 322 is 66. 6 is the devil's number. That goes a bit off topic there, but again, for anyone who understands these kind of people, like who's watched Eyes Wide Shut and realised that wasn't a movie, that was Stanley Kubrick showing us things that go on, you'll understand that there's more to this world than we know, and these people understand it, but we don't necessarily. Another irony, I remember when I was photographing a load of Remembrance Sunday parades around Manchester back in 2018 when I first started doing photography. If I remember correctly, I did Stockport in the morning, Hyde, and then moved round to Manchester city centre by the cathedral. And the one at Hyde was very interesting because it was diverse around Hyde. It's where Ricky Hatton's from. It's also where the Hindley, Myra Hindley, what's his name? I can't remember the name of the other one, but the Myra Hindley thing happened. And the irony of it was, though, there was all these Pakistanis watching the parade, like sniggering and laughing. And I couldn't help but kind of see why they were laughing, because it's just daft. Like all across the country, like say if you're doing a parade in Bradford or Oldham or Rochdale or areas of London, Birmingham, they're absolute effing hellholes, aren't they? Multicultural hellholes. And there we are marching up and down the square, up and down the street. It's all well and good celebrating, but what are you really celebrating? Because the country's knackered since World War II. It's been falling apart quicker and quicker, and the Palestine business was a good example of what's to come. Next year might even go past the cenotaph. It might really stoke up a riot next year. You never know. Now, the final irony I'd like to pick up on is something I observed yesterday. So there was, I was in a gym, I was in a changing room, and there was a black guy there, and he's a well-built black guy. I'd seen him walk around with his white girlfriend, and when I was in the changing room, I was listening to this guy talking to him, and this white guy must have been in his 50s or 60s, and he was really sucking up to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, say hello to your beautiful girlfriend and all that." And I was just thinking, you probably were the same sort of clown that was out on a Remembrance Sunday parades yesterday, buying into it all, clapping and going about fighting for your freedom and defending your country. The irony being is that supposedly we defended our country from the Germans, which are the same ethnic group as us, and now we're letting all these Africans in, and Arabs and Asians. I'm not saying they're bad people, but what I'm saying is, where does this lead for us as Europeans? He's there sucking up to this African guy who's got a European girlfriend, and in the long run, it's not going to be in our interests, is it? Because we'll get breeded out of existence. But the irony being, of course, is the day before he's probably gone about how we defended our country from foreigners, like a foreign invasion. Well, I'm going to break it to you. We're being invaded by foreigners now, but it's just being done by smiles, politeness, weakness. And that's the problem. I thought you're a very weak man. Me personally, I was just kind of ignoring him, didn't want to get involved, because I can't do anything, obviously, because the law is in the way, and I don't want to get banned from the gym for saying what I'm really thinking. But it's just a thought, like, we've already been invaded and colonised by foreigners, but it's just been done by a different method. Sorry if that's burst people's bubbles, but I'm afraid it's the truth. And that's it. Cheers.